All right. So without further ado, then we'll get to the part of the show that apparently
Oh,
is going to
fucking,
spawn
oh
some
God.
kind of some kind of debate between us.
Right.
So look, I'll go first, and then you can tell me where I'm wrong here, because
Gee.
I don't think any of what I'm about to say is controversial, but I can feel Liverpool fans arming themselves against anyone who is going to attempt to reduce the
Deal,
validity of this win.
just deal
But
with what happened.
here's what I will say about the incident at the end of the game. Two things can be, and in this case are, true. Nottingham Forest absolutely blew this in that they had multiple chances to eliminate the danger by clearing the ball, something that they failed to do. That is true. Also true is that Liverpool were wrongly handed the opportunity for Nottingham Forest to even be in that situation in the first place. And that's okay to admit that. Like, it doesn't downplay the win or the success that Liverpool have had. Look, Liverpool, they were on the wrong end of some god awful refereeing against Spurs. You were on the right end of some god awful refereeing here against Forest. These things happen. So I don't see that as a controversial statement. Both of these things are true.
I'm happy to take that as my statement too.
So
I
what
think
were what were we going to disagree on?
I just I had a feeling you were. I don't know why I felt this way, but I felt you were going to channel those Nottingham Forest fans at the end of the game and just like freak out. Typical big side bias, etc., etc.
No, 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 no. That
Um,
was never my thought. In fact, by the way, Nottingham Forest fans, I saw Men in Blazers tweet a video where Nottingham Forest fans are screaming at their own players to quote clear the bastard ball.
yeah,
So like they
right.
knew, they knew too
Listen,
that
it's
like
a mistake.
they could have handled it,
It's a
but like
mistake by Tierney. It definitely is. But it does not mean that Liverpool should go down and score down the other end and score. It shouldn't.
no,
Like I said, Forest were dribbling the ball out of their own box when Alexis McAllister took it. Clear the
right.
ball.
But the problem is at that stage in the game when we're dealing in seconds as opposed to like the middle of the game where it
Yeah.
something like that gets like Nottingham Forest being allowed to maintain possession there, getting it's a weird call to miss because it was so clear
But
who
he
had
did it in the
possession.
first. He did it in the first half too. He made a mistake with a drop ball in the first half too.
But
And I
like,
don't know. But why can't someone just get in his ear and go, Paul, quickly get in his ear, Paul? That's.
I don't know. I
What
mean,
the
we've
f- like? Why wouldn't you do that? Why have we all this goddamn technology that slows everything up, but nobody can just quickly get in his ear and say, "Ball's going the other way, mate." Oh yeah, yeah, fine, corrected, done.
I mean, I don't know. I can't answer that. We talked about this when the Diaz Spurs incident initially occurred. But just like the problem here is that like when you're dealing with such a finite short amount of time at the end of the game, it's not unreasonable to say that if Forest are allowed to get the drop ball there, there's a chance Liverpool don't attack again.
But
Like that's possible. The goal happened
I
a
actually
minute
think that
50 seconds later.
I
Like,
think the best team in England are one of the top two teams in England is going to attack again. I think that
but
is the
there's only
likelihood.
2 minutes left in the game,
I know, but there was
so
like, but
it's
like
hard to know. It's
so many
it's
things
possible.
I just cannot like if that had gone against me, I would not. Like it's tough for Forest because they're down there, they're fighting, they're scrapping away, and I understand that things go against you. But like, this is a mistake by the referee. It's not a deliberate. It's not some kind of deliberate act of cheating by either the referee or Liverpool Football Club. It's a mistake. It does not mean there should be a goal. These things happen or used to happen all the time in football, and we fucking got on with our lives. We got on with
That
our lives.
that's not true. I don't believe that that's true.
Oh, we did.
We did not. You say
You
that all the time.
the
That I disagree with.
fume is so much worse. And I partly blame Liverpool and I blame Arsenal for it too. So you have Mark Clattenburg, who is now the Nottingham Forest referees analyst or rules analyst. He's been interviewed after the game. Like, this is unbelievable. This is Mark Clattenburg, a former Premier League, fairly recent UEFA referee, very, like, in the past decade, Premier League referee, undermining the officials on the behest of a billionaire owner who is upset because something didn't go his way. This is a crazy scenario. And it does go back to what happened with Liverpool's strongly worded statement. Remember that after Tottenham? I don't have it in front of me, but there was this like, and we will assess what action we will take, like
Sure.
this kind of stuff. A mistake was made there too. It was not deliberate.
No,
But when
and
Klopp
Mikel Arteta's rant after the Newcastle game.
His letter after the Newcastle
when he
game.
was wrong, by the way.
But this stuff drives fans, and it's driving this, and it's undermining officials, and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And Mark Clattenburg's made-up position to placate a billionaire it's embarrassing. And we'll have a listen to what Clattenburg's job is, his role is.
What are you doing on behalf of the club in this situation?
I'm here to advise the club, and certainly because, for example, this is a matter of law, so therefore I can explain the matter of law. So that's what I'm there for, to advise the board, the football club. I haven't spoken to the referee. I'll leave that to the officials of Nottingham Forest to do. The owner's quite upset because they fought. He's invested a lot of money in the football club and he wants to see results.
Oh, the owner's upset. He's put a lot of money into the football. That's what owners do. They put money into football clubs. And if you see the haphazard way in which he's done it, that's his own fault. Also, you're signing Iwonyi, the chances he had. Like, Forrest had chances before that, never took them. Like, if it's all just about, if we're all just going to focus on the mistakes of the referees and not talk about the million other things that happen in a football game, as was pointed out by Jonathan Wilson on the Guardian Football Weekly, this is the state of the game. This is how we end up in this. And it's honestly, I get why Forest fans are upset. That's not the reason they lost the game, and it won't be the reason they'll be relegated.
Well, we'll see about that.
It's not the reason, Andrew.
That they'll be relegated?
It won't be the reason they'll go down, losing that game.
No, but look, it is. Here, I guess one area where I will disagree with you a little bit is I feel like you're almost painting this as non-controversial. When something like this happens,
I don't think it is.
Right at the end of the game, it is controversial.
It's a mistake. Well, we know what happened.
But I'm saying it's. But when I say it's controversial, I do mean that it does impact the potential outcome of the game. Like, I don't think that's a controversial thing for me to say.
Which was more impactful, the Forest players trying to dribble out of the box, or what happened?
I have them on a similar level. That's why I said both things are true. Yeah. Both things had a significant impact on the outcome of this game. Forest not clearing their zone was terrible and could have happened multiple times. And Paul Tierney giving the ball to Liverpool inexplicably with under 2 minutes to play was also terrible and had an impact potentially on the end of the game.
But like, things get missed in games. They just do.
I know, but when it happens in the final 2 minutes, it's magnified.
But what about two penalty incidents? The first one, Jayden Dan's hauled to the ground, and then I think it was Dele hauled to the ground in the opposition box by Gomez. Both of those could have been given penalties. Tierney didn't look at them.
But this is a law that he is objectively, like, a penalty, whether it is or isn't. You can disagree, but it's subjective. This guy made an inexplicable mistake.
But if we want to go further down this road, he did make a mistake. It was probably also a mistake that was it Yates crashed into, had his foot up on Kelleher, or on Kanate and Kelleher. Like, that could have easily just been a free out for Liverpool, and they'd still have the ball. I honestly, like, these things, maybe it's me, maybe it's the era I grew up in, but these things happened all the time, and the game moved on. Like, you
are wrong about that. You've said that time and time again, and I've never stopped you. But that is not true.
It's improvable.
Referee mistakes have been talked about for certainly as long as I've watched the sport. It's partially why we got into a VAR era, because people couldn't take it anymore with mistakes.
But we're talking.
They've always been talked about and emphasized after games.
But we're talking about this error like it's Maradona on Shilton. That's the way it's being discussed.
No, that's not true.
Oh, jeez.
This is the day after. All right. For 24 hours, it's going to be a big part of the news cycle. Liverpool are in a title race. Like, a controversial decision at the end of a game that may have had an impact on the result. When a team is in a title race and the other one is trying to fend off relegation, you got to give this a day and a half where people are going to talk about it. It's not unreasonable.
I will go back to what you said. I think both things are true. I would side more on the side that, like, there was, I don't believe this. So much happened in between Paul Tierney's error and the goal that I don't know. That's where I am. And I'd feel the same if it went against Liverpool. I honestly would. And part of it is I'm sick of talking about this on the podcast. Part of it is when I watch a game now, I'm like, we're going to have to do this again on the podcast, regardless of what game it's in, whether it's Liverpool or anybody else. That's it.
Look, we've brushed over some. And by the way, I've seen people criticize us. What was it? There was one a couple of weeks ago that people were like, I can't believe they didn't address.
It was last week. I can't remember what it was. but it was Endo. It was in the
Oh
the
yeah, the
Carabao Cup final.
offside. Yeah, the
But that was done to death.
Yeah.
Done
to me,
death.
I mean, this one was. How are you not going to talk about it? It's the biggest
I know
story in the sport right now, potentially.
I just wouldn't. I'm trying to get into the headspace where if it went the other way, where I wouldn't be. Well, why didn't that Liverpool player clear their lines? You know, especially the fact there was a corner in between that. There was just so many different potential phases of play. That's it. And I'm going to get ruined for this. Absolutely ruined. The City fans in Arsenal took that very, very badly on Saturday. Very, very badly indeed. And I'm going to hear from them. But whatever.
You've been listening to the Caught Offside Soccer Podcast.